Welcome back to the Buddies Much podcast. I'm Andrew. I'm joined here with...
My name's Sean.
And...
I'm Chase.
And today we are talking about the popular show on Netflix, Squid Game.
You know, there's not a single person who hasn't mentioned this to me in the last, 3 months.
Yeah, you know, I feel
Have you seen Squid Game?
Have you seen Squid Game?
Dude,
Squid Game?
Squid Game.
It's even all over TikTok and social media and stuff. But that being said, as we kind of jump into it here, normally stuff like that would ruin shows for me where it's super overhyped and I'm already annoyed once I've started the show. But it actually held up. I kind of looked past it.
I think you jumped on it early enough.
I think so?
Yeah.
Oh.
That if one more week of people being like, hey, you should watch Squid Game, and just be like, nah.
Maybe. I am that kind of person.
With Squid Game, though, when I was watching it, I was like, holy cow, this is just Alice in Borderlands.
Yep, that's exactly true. And we'll talk about that because I want to touch on that too, but you're right. I guess let's jump into a rating. Again, if you don't know what Squid Game is, you're probably lying because everyone's talked about it. Highly renowned show on Netflix. A little dark. People compete to win money, and they have to do kind of these sadistic games. Korean film? Is it Korean?
Yeah, South Korean.
South Korean. Thank you.
Not North Korean.
Yeah, obviously not North Korean. Yes, but
that's an untapped gold mine of cinema. North Korean cinema.
Let's jump into the ratings. Actually, let's have you guys start. I'm still thinking. So
probably give it
this is the
out of 10.
Out of 10, yeah. TV show rating.
I would give it an 8.
Okay,
but I'm probably gonna go 7.5 just because in the first 2 episodes, the main character 456, whatever his number is, I think it's 456.
Yeah,
his stupid mouth noises and talking with the food in his mouth. Really, I almost shut the show off.
Oh,
the first episode because he's eating and talking and I don't know. It made me really cringe.
All right, we'll have to dive into that in a minute. So you said 8?
7.5.
Or 7.5.
It would have been 8.
7.5. All right,
yeah.
Sean, what about you?
6.
Whoa, okay. I'm 8.5. I actually really enjoyed the show.
Oh, okay.
85%. Yeah,
Passing.
Yeah, it is passing. So let's jump into the likes, like we always do, and then we'll jump into the dislikes. What did you guys like? Actually, most of the show I liked, so I don't have a lot of grievances, but what did you guys like?
The twist.
Spoilers, by the way.
Oh,
yeah. Gigantic spoilers.
Major spoilers.
Old man twist. I knew from the second I saw him.
Yeah, same.
See, normally I'm pretty good at calling stuff out. I did not see that coming.
Really?
I thought he was dead, and I was like, okay, tender moment.
I knew from red light, green light that the old man was in on it.
Yes.
No, I'm not even, and I'm not just saying that. I'm legit. I'm being serious. As soon as red light, green light started, I'm like, this guy's totally in on it. I just know it.
You knew he was part of setting up the games, or that maybe he had played before.
No, that he was part of setting up the games.
Well, and I will 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
If his number wasn't number 1, I would have believed it. Even
Also,
with red light, green light, but with 1 plus red light, green light, I was like, of course. Yeah. I knew it.
No, I didn't. I assumed he had played before. That was my assumption. That that's why he was able to sign up T1. That he was number 1, and that he was already kind of into the games as it started. I assumed he had played before.
What else did you guys like? So yeah, there was the twist at the end with the old man. That was pretty cool.
I don't know if it's as much, but in the first few episodes, they start the game, and then they actually left.
Yeah. I loved that. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
That was very normally you don't get the choice in those types of things.
And I mean that was sort of a cool way to because most people in that situation would be like, why wouldn't you just leave? Well, that's why they did leave, and then they came back. You know, so they explored that possibility and then came back and was like, okay, they're choosing to be here.
And I really thought because I was shocked obviously when that happened. I'm like, okay, well the whole thing's gonna fall on its head because obviously you're gonna go to the police and other people aren't just gonna want to play, and then of course the police don't believe them, which makes sense. But they end up figuring out that their real life is really that bad, and they're like, well, maybe I should just go back. And I'm like, okay, that's it. That's a fair enough assumption. And not all of them did. I think 30 didn't. But
yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
But most of them did.
What they had now.
Most did. What about you, Sean? Anything else you liked?
No, not really. I mean,
No?
we touched on the major ones.
What do you think about the cop brother?
The what?
The infiltrator guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
he was cool.
I really
So-
like that whole side story.
There was only one thing that kind of irked. Well, that's in a dislike. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, he was cool. I liked him a lot.
Me too.
Did you guys like the games? I loved the games.
Games were awesome.
I thought they were clever. They were on theme. They
Part of me
They're pretty
wonders
cool.
if they made like an American Squid Games, what it would be like.
Like, what games would we play?
Like hopscotch,
Foursquare,
Dude,
like,
but it's a bomb.
Foursquare to the death.
But it's a bomb and it explodes.
like the glass thing that like the glass panes.
Yeah.
Instead of that, it's like monkey bars, and you have to reach on a monkey bar and then just die. But you're like,
some of them are
dang.
greased up.
I was kind of hoping for like a tag or something. That like after a certain amount of time, a buzzer goes off and whoever is it gets shot.
Okay.
And you do that for a while. So like I was kind of hoping for tag.
To be fair, I did not know like the actual Squid Game part. Did not know the rules.
yeah, that was-
it went above my head. And I
Yeah,
was like,
same.
whatever. I
Oh,
don't know.
you okay?
Although I know the rules, but like
Right.
I wasn't. I in no way did I know the game or could confirm any of this. So I'm just like, sure, sounds good to me.
Yeah,
It's
I
like-
was gonna like. Did they make that up or is that like actually a thing in Korea?
It's probably
It,
actually.
it probably is.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up right now.
Fair.
Actually,
Let's jump into some dislikes.
I know I'm gonna look stupid because I'm gonna type in "is Squid Game real?" and it's just gonna be like, "No, you idiot!" Like,
A dislike for me. So I liked the infiltrator cop guy. I kind of hated how he like just knew what to do all the time. Does that make sense? He's just like, oh, I'll knock out this guy and put on the uniform, and I know to go here, and I know to go here, and I know to do that. Like, I get like there's a regimen, but it kind of just had it a little easy. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he was never. No one was ever suspicious because like, think about it. You don't know where to go in the building. You don't know what your job is. Like, I felt like he was like kind of got.
I
off
would
easy.
disagree a little bit because for half the season, it felt like they had no clue there was an infiltrator.
That's my point.
And like, Yeah.
being run on such a tight ship. Like, if some random guy can come in, like, why would the cops not be able to find out whatever? Like, I get that he's slightly a better cop. He's a detective or something, and not just like a beat cop. But still, I feel like
well, he had to be really lucky to get in on everything.
maybe.
Yeah, and like he was sneaking around. He was never caught. He was just it seemed a little untouchable at times, but it was fine. I
for
didn't.
family.
Yeah, for my family.
It is a
But-
real game, by the way.
Oh,
Squid Game is a real
cool.
game. Popular in the 70s and 80s.
So one thing I was completely wrong on because I kind of knew the old man. I guessed that right off the bat. The thing that I was just dead wrong. Do you guys remember when? I think it was the marbles game.
Yeah.
They were in that room and you had to pair up.
Mm-hmm.
So that crazy chick was the odd man out,
Mm-hmm.
and so I assumed you just die. They're gonna take her and kill her.
No.
I mean, they implied that.
They did, very heavily.
but that was like their twist. That
Yeah.
like, oh, she's still alive.
Yeah,
And, like,
I
you
actually
just
think
get a
that's
free
kind
pass.
of dumb.
Exactly.
I was
That,
like,
that if you're not good enough or sociable enough to get a partner, then I mean,
No,
you're just
'cause-
kind of screwed.
I totally disagree.
You think it's like smart?
Well, yeah. Well, their whole thing with the Squid Games is to give someone a better chance, and like they pretty much like explain it away. Like with her, like she's like the girl that wasn't getting picked at, kickball or whatever. Like you're not gonna just like put that puppy down,
Well, you are if they're murdering people.
right? But they made it to where like there were rules, specific rules they weren't going to.
I guess.
If you
yeah.
cheated, yes.
I thought it was dumb.
She didn't cheat. Like,
Yeah, you're right.
although I hated her.
Yeah,
Like, I love that I hated her.
I mean, yeah.
She-
I mean,
she was a
she
good
she
bad
really
guy.
played up her crazy role. But speaking of the marble scene, so the whole thing with the two girls, hated it.
Really?
I couldn't stand just every 2 seconds, like, oh, let's just talk, and one of us is gonna die, but maybe we can go to a bar sometime. Oh wait, she did that like 4 times. So I was
she
like,
did.
oh, I just don't care about either of you. Like,
Interesting. I thought it was fine.
When I was telling Sean this, because, like, with the old guy, Sean's like, I did not guess that with the old guy, but I was like, Dude, one, they never showed his death on scene.
it was off camera.
And in cinema, if you don't show the death on camera,
It didn't happen.
didn't happen.
So
Unless it's a PG-13 movie and it's Venom or something. Then it's very real.
So I thought that scene between those two was actually really touching and actually kind of tragic, you know, because his
Yeah.
dementia, quote unquote, his dementia was kicking in really hard.
Nah, he was playing him.
Exactly. So that's what kind of ruined it for me. So I was like, oh, like it's so tragic because he's like using his dementia and like he knows he's gonna die for this or blah blah blah, but he's like using him anyway. But then in the end, he was like, "Oh, just like you cheated on me, or like you cheated to get ahead, and blah blah blah." And I was like, "Come on, that like
No.
totally took away from that scene."
I
me.
disagree. I think it actually makes it better because like
Yep.
he's teaching the young guy a lesson, and that's kind of where I was coming from. Where like you have this painful scene, and he's like, "Well, whatever, screw it, I'm gonna get away with it." And the old man's like, "Well, like your true colors have been shown," and he's like, "Oh crap, now I have to live with the guilt." And he's like, "Yeah, that's what happens in the real world."
I mean,
I kind of saw it as him teaching the other guy a lesson, not so much like
see, I wasn't so much of a fan of like because like the end scene where he's talking to him, where he's like, "Oh, people are actually bad," and like, look at the guy out the window,
Yeah.
no one to help him, and like. I get where you're coming from. That like, yeah, he was trying to show him like, oh, everyone's bad at heart, and like everyone has their price. But I feel like it was more emotional to be taking advantage of your friend like that, and like that was more tragic, and they should have kept it that way.
But they still wrapped it up because he made like the sacrifice. So like,
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, here's another dislike. Because they're talking about the whole game as it's, one person's going to get a chance to, life-changing money type thing.
Yeah,
right?
38 million, I believe. We all Googled it at some point.
like 38. We'll just round it up to 40 million
Sure.
USD,
Yeah.
I think,
which is still a lot of money. Don't get me wrong.
I like the richest elite people, the spectators.
Oh, they were weird.
I did not like them. I like the concept, but I did not. I kind of
Like-
wish that they just did not have them.
In the show, you mean?
Yeah.
Or like, why? Like, you didn't like their personalities?
I just thought it was kind of a sideline. I mean, of course, they're probably doing it so they can get, donators and whatever money.
Yeah.
But they
it
bugged me.
It was weird because when I watched the show, I thought they were going to be a bigger deal than it was. It was just kind of like there's big mystery, and then they showed up, and it was just like coming out, and I'm like, come on.
well, I mean, that was really their setup for season 2, because like
I guess
he's going back for them. That's who he's like hunting
Yeah.
down now, I guess. But I kind of agree with Chase that like I really feel like they didn't need to be in the show as much as they were.
Yeah.
That they should have stayed more mysterious.
See,
Just
and
sort
that's
of
what that's what happens in Alice in Borderlands.
Yeah.
And have you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
You've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
So Alice in Borderlands is a live action show on Netflix, similar to Squid Game, but it was an anime. But it's creepy because when you watch the anime and you watch the live action, they're almost perfect. Like scene by scene, there's a lot of things that are absolutely perfect. But Alice in Borderland is a lot more gory and
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot more tragic. Like you have to win these games to survive. And they find like the evil corporation's base underground, but they already fled. So they're like, we'll get them next time, kind of a thing. So yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from. There should have been a little more
More mystery.
mystery than just like a mask and we like
Gross
watching.
elite.
Like,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
needs to be a better reason than just I like watching, in my opinion.
Yeah, because like I thought it was really intriguing. Like they have these masks and they're wearing the suits and like sure, I mean what's his name, the Proctor? I don't know his whatever they called him.
I can't remember either.
The game master, I guess.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of conversation between them, but they really should have left it there. But who knows with like these Netflix series, right? They put out like one season and then who knows what's next, and so they're like, okay, we have to put the story in a place where it's okay if we just leave it. No one's going for long-term goals anymore.
Yeah.
Do you kind of feel that with like all these Netflix series coming out, that no one's going for the long haul?
They are, but it's a long haul before the next season comes out. So you have to binge watch it again.
I don't know.
So, one thing I was actually going to add in the like section, I kind of like the whole underground of the pink guys, like the organ harvesting. I thought that was kind of like a cool little sidebar that
That was interesting, yeah.
I mean, of course they all died, but I thought that was
So
really interesting.
I actually was wrong when it came to that. I knew they were harvesting organs, but I was when I first saw them, I was under the assumptions that
It was part of the game.
no, that they were just good people, and that they were that them harvesting the organs and sending them off was part of a bigger cause. I thought it just was like this big super thing where it's oh, we're harvesting the organs and we're sending them to
Primary children.
no, to people who have played the games who need to keep living, or just I don't know,
Yeah.
something.
I wasn't getting that at all.
something super out there,
I
and I'm
just
like,
thought
they're the good guys, and then you get these scenes where it's oh yeah, we screwed the dead girl, and I'm like, they're bad guys.
Yeah.
I
They're
thought
just
it.
selling 'em.
I thought it was put up for the whole corporation, that they were just harvesting all the bodies. But
And see, that's kind of a dislike for me. That, I mean, I'll explain. That on this place that is so secretive and so tightly run that you can't even use names. There's no back talk. Everyone's recorded. How were these random grunts setting up this system under their noses, under all the surveillance, under all this strict guidelines? How did they rig something in the furnace? How
Well,
did they
to
set
be
up a
fair,
room that no one knows about?
I don't think the headmaster really cared about the organs.
He didn't. He admitted he didn't.
Yeah.
But I kind of see where you're coming from. But at the same time, I think when you have such a tight ship, people they just end up knowing. They're just the person that worked the cameras. They're listen, I do this all day, every day. I know that I can record the footage. I know you can go down this hallway at this time. I think just after a while, you just kind of, I don't know.
Because really, if it was just the organ harvesting, I'm sure headmaster would have just been fine with it.
So
But
let me give you an
because
example.
he was giving them an unfair advantage.
Let me give you an example. And it's not the same thing, but where I work, I'm recorded heavily. I do the same thing over and over and over, and I make sure people don't leave. I'm trying to be vague, but I kind of put myself in their shoes, and I think if I had to leave or escape, what would I do? And I have this little plan in my head. So it's after enough time, you can
that I know the guard
comes
makes
at
his
15
run at
minutes on the
8:15,
dot. Yeah.
so I know that he'll come past it. So
Because
I
I've been doing this for 2
Oh,
years.
yeah, all right.
Or I know, I've been picking up dead bodies for 2 years. Because the other thing that I really liked when he went into the Hall of Records, that was dope. Seeing all the previous
Oh
winners.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how many seasons? It was 20 seasons, or they've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, it was something crazy.
Which they could have been doing that stuff for a while.
Yeah, and it looked like the previous, because it was the guy's brother, the previous winner from a couple years ago was the headmaster.
I
That was
wasn't a
kinda
fan.
weird.
I thought that was
Yeah.
way too convenient to be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I did however, Red Light, Green Light. I thought that was a great game.
Is that your favorite game?
It wasn't my favorite game, but I liked it because it thinned out the crowd by half. I honestly thought this was going to be one of those things where it's they play the game, 2 people will die. They play another game,
Yeah.
5 people will die. But that first game, they knocked out half.
When you see all the floor numbers, just
Yeah,
I mean,
That was
yeah,
awesome.
that very realistic. That
yeah.
the second stuff started going wrong, people scattered and they got eliminated.
okay. What did
I
you
think-
think?
Wait, sorry, I was
Oh,
going to ask
go
what your
ahead.
favorite game was. Mine was Tug of War.
Yeah,
I love Tug of War.
I agree. Tug of War was.
It was
pretty
either
good.
Tug-
It just got me in my feels. I think that's why.
Take you back to your old Tug of War
I
days.
liked between Tug of War and the Glass, the very last one.
I didn't.
Or second
I wasn't a
last.
fan of the glass jump because everyone was like, "Okay, go, go, go," and then people started pushing people, and it's okay, well, that's what the game is now.
Right, but there's all. I mean, it's all about survival, and the one big guy. I don't know.
I mean that kind of confused me. So the one big guy was all about survival. Is I'll push you back, and then the chick jumped on him. Is I'll just take us together.
Yeah, well, she was crazy.
Yeah, I guess she.
So-
that's a fair point.
Another big dislike. I know we're really ragging on this, but I guess that's what we do.
We're ragging, but honestly, it wasn't as bad as we're ragging.
I did not like the whole
You thought it was bad? Speak up.
I do. Like, I think a lot of things were too convenient to be interesting, and I think that that more things would have been better if you just left them alone, but they didn't, and they kept coming back to it and being like, haha, this was twisty, and it's like, it was
All
better
right.
the way you had it.
All right, I respect that. I feel
So,
that.
I did not like 456's friend.
Oh, his like cousin or brother?
Yeah,
or
the one
something?
who like he already put together, you know, the genius guy, whatever.
Yeah.
Already put together what thing it was, but like didn't help anyone out, you know.
Yeah, he was just in it for himself. Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I
that
mean-
confuses me a little bit. So he was pretty ruthless, where he was like,
Yeah. He over time he gets more ruthless. Yeah.
but so like, why was he helping people out before?
He really wasn't.
When?
So they got out of the game like episode 2 or something, and he's like giving this guy money, and he's like,
Yeah. So,
It's appearances. He was dead broke.
yeah, I think it's more just defeated. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy, so I think this is my personal opinion. So he was caught hemorrhaging like billions of dollars or something like that, right? Or
Yeah.
using company
Embezzling,
money
yeah.
or embezzling, right? So he probably has a pretty hefty bank account. He probably still has a lot of money, but
Sure.
he still owes a lot of money. So it's just at this, like, I have money, but I just can't get caught because my life is over, right?
Mhm.
So at that point, he's just like, $10 to this dude? Sure, dude. Like, I owe billions of dollars. You're wanting 10, like, you know what I mean?
guess. I just mean,
Well-
like, he gets so ruthless. Like, do you think
Not billions, like millions.
that he was always that ruthless, or that he grew into
he
it?
Grew into
he grew
it.
into it for sure.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
degraded.
I think the tipping point was when they played, I don't know what it's called, but I'm going to call it the cookie game.
yeah,
When he kind of like pieced it together before the game started.
honeycomb, I think it was called.
Yeah, honeycomb. He pieced it together and he purposely didn't tell his friends.
Yeah,
I don't know why. That's a dick move. Like,
yeah.
especially if you knew what the game was, there was no harm in telling other people. So I think he was just like, you know what?
Because like that early in the game, you're getting rid of allies, and you don't want that.
Exactly.
Like, he should have
Yeah.
been smart enough to know.
I'm trying to think. What
Predictions.
Well, first I wanted to say, what did you guys think of the end? He like dyes his hair bright pink. Like,
It's red. So I read up on that, and there's like a ton of symbolism behind it.
okay.
Nothing I know. I guess it's some Korean thing or something. But
Oh, okay.
I looked it up because literally everyone and their dog looked it up on Google, and it's something. So it's supposed to be symbolic and some tradition of something of like turning a new leaf, or I don't know.
Changing
New
your hair
person.
color.
Again, Korea. I don't know.
I know that's what.
Yeah.
Like, did you said you looked it up? So like,
No, I
changing your
didn't
hair
read.
color
I didn't
to-
read the article. I just read like, why did he change his hair color? And it just was like, oh, it's symbolic. And then I just closed the
something
page.
something Korea.
Yeah, yeah. I was just like, oh, it's symbolic of this, and I was like, okay, and I closed the page. I'm like,
Okay.
I thought there was like something I missed where I was like, did he promise his daughter? Like,
Yeah.
he's
See,
gonna do it?
I don't know. So like, his family gets away from him, and he was gonna chase him, and then decides,
Follow.
nah, I'm gonna take these guys down, which is their big setup for the next season, if there's a next season. I don't know if that's confirmed or not,
I'm sure there will
I'm
be.
sure there will be. Yeah.
but I don't know. It seemed kind of strange to me that he would take the time to get the money and then not.
But you know, like as soon as he won, remember how he didn't spend any of it?
Yeah.
He had like 40 million and he didn't spend, and the people who ran the games like were upset. They're like,
Yeah.
dude, you haven't spent any of your money. You've been living like a hobo. You've been asking people for money.
Yeah.
And he's just, it was kind of like almost like a middle finger to them. Where it
Yeah.
was like,
I'm sure.
you didn't get me.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, he's like, well, I can actually
That
do
was
some good.
That was his conversation with the old man.
Exactly.
Because like, oh, everyone has their price. And
Well, and I'm sure too, part of it's like once you lose all that money again, you know, after you spend all that money, maybe they pull you into the game as like headmaster or something. And they have all this blackmail on you. I don't know.
that was kind of the joke. We saw the SNL skit on Squid Game, and that was kind of the joke that like, I'm really bad with money. And you just gave me $40 million. So I'm gonna be bad with money again and just come right back.
Yeah, that's a good point. check it out. Also, check out Alice in Borderlands. They're very similar.
I liked Alice in
I'm
Borderlands
gonna
way
have to watch that
more.
one. I've heard it mentioned like 3 or 4 times.
Dude,
now.
it's so freaking good.
Way better.
Yeah. It's got some anime vibes to it though, so just keep that in mind.
careful.
I don't know. It's
Like, they
the
go to-
live action anime where they're like, oh
No. But like something that like would be kind of okay in anime is kind of, it translates weird to live action. Like they go to this
I believe
they
that.
go to this place and it's kind of like this resort where it's like, don't worry about dying tomorrow, live it up today,
Mhm.
right? And the number one rule is like you have to be in a bathing suit at all times.
Okay.
So
I
like
get a lot of chafe.
in anime, like, you know, they're always like dressed in their bathing suit and partying, but like when it translates to live action, you're just like, it's kind of weird. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like,
You got like the girls running around in bikinis like,
yeah, or like in anime, like some of the guys might have like weird bathing suits and like look anime, but then you try and do it in like live action, you're like, you just look like a weirdo, man. But
That's funny.
Anyone excited for the new Cowboy Bebop?
No.
oh, is that getting live action?
Yes.
It's coming out this
on,
month. It's a series on Netflix.
Netflix. I still need to watch Cowboy Bebop, honestly. Let's do predictions for Squid Game. What do you guys think? If season 2 comes out, what do you think they'll do with it?
More games.
He's gonna turn into the Korean John Wick.
Oh, really?
He's gonna spend his money on like guns and stuff, and he's gonna storm the castle.
So do you think he'll play again, or do you think he'll be like behind the scenes, like trying to hack the mainframe?
I think.
I think he'll play again.
Okay, now it's been a minute. Remind me, did that detective die?
yeah,
he
his,
died.
His brother shot him off the cliff.
Well, he fell into the water. Did he die?
He's like shot him in the arm. I don't think Detective's dead.
So he's gonna find the detective, and they're both gonna try to team up and take it down. That's my prediction.
Ugh,
That's my prediction.
interesting.
He's going to find the other 30 people that weren't. That
See,
left.
exactly. Right along those tracks of way too convenient to be interesting. He's gonna find the guy.
You know what they might do? What if they do a tournament of champions where they bring back all the previous winners?
Some Hunger Games vibes.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say that.
Exactly. I mean, like, there's a lot of shows have done that, so it's like I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Give it a watch. It's on Netflix. It's pretty good. Any final thoughts before we squid this up? Green light.
No.
No.
All right, go watch Squid Game. It's an 8.5.